Hello and welcome, Draft League fans. So I'm gonna link the stream real quick. If you're watching the VOD and you want to catch these streams live, of course, my Discord is linked down below. And today the plan is we're gonna go over some DCL drafts, point out some that I think are a little bit silly. A lot of them are actually pretty good this time around, but also we're gonna be figuring out how we want to do DCL fantasy. I think it's a fun idea. And yeah, so let me just link the stream here. At the streams roll. There we go. And yeah. So the idea for DCL fantasy, right? I have a few ideas. One of them is where you have a set budget and you can draft 8 players who are starting, and obviously whoever wins gets points, all that. What's up, Soltec? What's up, Cinerath? How we doing? Yeah, I think fantasy will be a fun thing to kind of replace the Pred streams. Like, we could still do Preds, but also at the same time do some fantasy stuff. Have people pick their drafts for the week, all that stuff. I'm thinking like a week-to-week kind of thing, where you're picking your starting players, and if they win, you get points. If they lose, you don't. And then kind of just go from there. I don't know exactly what scoring system we would use. Would we do like a 6-0 is worth more points? I don't know. That's something to be decided. But for now, we're going to look at some of these drafts and see, which ones are good, which ones are mid, which ones are silly goose, and which ones are the GOAT. Hello chat, hello Central, how we doing? Alright. So first off, let's take a look at some of these SV drafts, right? Because that's what people are all like, people love SV, right? So we got Tacticians in the first slot. Got, like, this is Zarude, Deoxys Speed. You see a lot of Deoxys Speed paired with Zarude. And we got a cat. Hello, cat. I am cat sitting right now, so we do have a cat for at least the short foreseeable future. What's up, Dougal? Alright, so a lot of people have been using this Zarude Deoxys Speed combination, both in individual stuff as well as team tournaments, kind of modeled after that that draft that we had in, what was it? Was it DCL 2? Where it was Zarude Deoxys Speed Cinderace, so DOS and Cinderace as the speed control, and then it was, we had a Goldango on there, we had, what else was on that team? Not exactly remembering, but regardless, people have seen that and they're like, okay, Zarude and Deoxys Speed, really great offensive duo, because obviously dark type, psychic type, good synergy there. And Deoxys is one of the best like fast breakers, I think, with Life Orb, Modest, Psycho Boost mixed with Superpower. It's really hard to stop this thing. Enempty, Garchomp, Evire, Lapras. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was like a 6-mon team, plus like 2 1-pointers, and the Lapras came more than the Enam. I remember that, actually. Yeah. So this combination, very popular now. I think at least a few of them have a similar core. Like, you see Surfers here, they have the Garchomp, Cinderace, Goldango. So it's like a similar top 4-ish, but they're missing the Dio. Either way. We're over here now. We have Pecharunt, so this is like kind of comboing with like a Spikes Deoxys. So if you wanted to run Spikes Deoxys, you can spin block with Pech. It's like a little bit of synergy there, although I think most of the time Deoxys does prefer to be Life Orb offensive sets. I think those are the most devastating consistently. But, you open up more options, it's all good. Cycles are to spin, kind of replacing that Cinderace role as the speed control and hazard control, and like, sometimes it has its offensive matchups, And Lando, I think, is just a mid Pokemon in SV, unfortunately. I don't think it's very good at all. What does it do here? So it's like your main rocker. It's your only rocker, is it? I mean, Deoxys, I guess. So you either run Rocks Deoxys or you have to bring your Lando. Kind of gross, honestly. I don't like those being my only rockers. I'd prefer something else in this slot. But what else is even available for this slot? Like, what would work here? I don't know. We got Belly Bolt as the flying check. Just general, like, you can stop most threats with this thing, I guess. I don't know, it kind of blanket checks a lot of stuff. Like, you can use the Belly Bolt to beat stuff like Roaring Moon, it gets toxic. static something, electromorphosis. Like, it's got some cool text and stuff, but sure. And then Cresselia as well. Like, Bellybolt Cresselia is like, and then Petron as well. It's like a pretty big fat core of these three. So like hard to break. And then you have like Zarude kind of taking over longer games with like synthesis taunt type stuff. I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of this team. It doesn't feel like the most threatening thing. And then obviously the Tauros Blaze, but that's not... It hasn't really been a popular Pokemon for years at this point. So yeah. This team looks pretty mid to me. What do you guys think? It's like... The Mon quality is not really there once you get past the top 3. Like, all these Mons, I think, are like niche picks. And you're trying to fit too many niche picks on one team, I think. So like the Mon quality tends to drop off. And Cinerath with the membership. Thank you. Welcome back. Woot woot. Yeah. Alright, next one. Roaring Moon Treads. Wogerpon. I mean, another Cresselia with Terra, so these guys really rating Terra Cress as a whole, as a team. What do we got here? Like, the Zapdos, and then the things to punish Terra Electric is going to be Treads. I don't know. It's like alright, I guess. Usually people do want to Terra defensively against Ogerpon, and Zapdos kind of covers the Terra Grasses, and Terra Dragon into Roaring Moon doesn't feel the best, so I guess there's a little bit of synergy there between like forcing Terra types. This team is just, I think the top 6 is a lot more conventionally good than the other one. Like the Mon quality is just higher, I think, overall. Yo, if I would you like to exchange mock battles for DCL this week? You already asked me and I called you ugly. My bad. I mean, nah, I'm just gonna mock for my own team. All good. Yasuo and Gudra is the secondary steal. I think probably works out okay. Let's see. I don't know, I feel like Terra Electric does cover quite a bit on this team. Because you avoid T-Wave from Cress, Zapdos is hard-walled, and then like, Ogerpon if it Terras, you have super effective Terra Blast, or like boosted Thunderbolts, or whatever your coverage is. I don't know, this does seem pretty weak to Terra Electric. I would expect that to be a common theme running into this one. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this one is benched week 1 anyways. We play them week 1. Right now, this one, Meowscarada, Iron Moth, Lando, another Lando. These guys are Lando believers, unlike me. There's a Dragonite round 4, which is good value. Rotom Wash, Fortress, Conk. Like, this is a good team. Like, all of these mons are very bringable, which is the thing. Like, Carbink is a bringable Pokemon. Fortress is bringable in SV. Conk is really good. I like Conk quite a lot. And I actually play against this team week 1, so I'm playing against Fagos, piloting this team. Gonna be a good game. Oh, I see a Torrenting Lupetch team coming up. Yeah, there's like 3 of those. A very common core. But anyways, Moth with Terra is like one of the scary breakers in the format. So there is that. To consider Dragonite one of the best win conditions with multi-scale DD E-Speed. Meowscarada one of the best revenge killers for Scarfers. And Conkeldurr just like... It's a pretty good team, honestly. I like this one a lot. Rotom Wash is like pretty cool here because you get momentum into stuff like Iron Moth, Meowscarada. Even Lando. I think Lando fits better on this team than it does on that one. Yeah, I like this team quite a lot, actually. Probably my favorite of their 5 teams by a significant margin. They got Raging Bolt, Roaring Moon, Double Dragon Core. Alright, so this is basically going under the assumption that Raging Bolt is going to Terra as your fairy type a lot of the time, right? All 5 Torrents are paired with Ting, then Petch and or D-Knight, aren't they? I think so. Let me just see. This one is Torrenting Aloe, but yeah. All of the Torrents have a Tinglu with them, this is true. So double dragon offensive core, pretty interesting. Aloe plus Raging Bolt is really good synergy. I like that a lot. Jirachi as well, so you have double healing wish, which is a pretty viable strat with Raging Bolt if I'm being completely honest. Gliscor as well is like pretty interesting here because you have spikes options. Spikes plus Raging Bolt is really strong. Just by virtue of like all the switch-ins to electric, they're gonna get hit by spikes, right? This is a synergy that's like as old as ADV, basically. Your electric type, the flying types can't come in, right? So you're gonna get spike value. Not so much the case in SV because boots exists, but still, the concept is there. Teams might be able to stop 1 Terrabolt, but can they stop 3 Terrabolts? That's the thing, right? They usually can't. This one has a raw Iron Moth, which I think is way worse than Terra Moth. Like, not comparable at all, unfortunately. Gliscor is interesting because you do have the option of screens into Double Dance Gliscor. I think that's pretty viable often, but sometimes that really wants Terra to work, so most likely just going to see Spikes bot kind of sets for the most part. And then another Conch and a Terra Avalugg for like removal. I guess you need removal because Defog, Rapid Spin, good enough. Kind of enables like a Specs Moth or like non-boots a little bit nicer, I guess. Usually with Aloe you want a little bit stronger removal to enable the AV sets to do their thing. But yeah, this one's a little bit wonky. We'll see how this one works out. I'm not too sure. It seems like maybe it'll have some issues. And then this one, like a very fat style. We saw this before where like you have your Torrenting Lu, Fortress, and then your Spinner. I think we saw this on what was it? Band Chasers in DPL 8, I want to say, or was it DCL 2? I think it was DCL 2, where they have this super fat core with Fortress, but there they had an Iron Moth, and they don't really have anything to match that offensive pressure here. Am I remembering this correctly? I don't know. But yeah, Fortress and then your Spinner, yeah. Cyclizar. Bax is interesting. I would have maybe preferred a Kyurem on here because they're the same price, and I think Kyurem is just a better Pokemon. Maybe they value the Ice Shard though, because this team is kind of a little bit weak to something like... is it? Like Weavile maybe? But Fortress Rotom Wash is probably decent enough. What am I saying Weavile for? Ice Shard. What would Ice Shard be for? Like maybe a Dragonite opposing? I don't know, you have Ting-Lu, Petrorite, like... I don't know what we're so scared of. Maybe they probably have a reason. But yeah, I would have preferred Kyurem here. Same price, better mon, I think. But yeah, this team is like defensively pretty sound, right? So overall, not too bad. I think Tacticians did, overall, a pretty reasonable job on their SV drafts. Look at Surfers now. Those Surfers. Oh, by the way, Tacticians, the captains are Loki-P and Habada. Let's look at Surfers. Who are the captains of Surfers? So Surfers are Hacker and Hex. So Hex is not really a Draft League player. More of a Smogon guy, friends with Hacker. But Hacker's been around for a long time, so should be alright. Darkrai Garchomp. Corv? The round 3 Corv is kind of crazy. You see, this team has multiple Corviknights. They really rate that mon overall as a team. The round 3 Corv is like pretty, you're reaching pretty far there. And I think if you look at the mon quality down here, it falls off pretty fast. You have Fez, Dusknoir, Shaman, and then like Heatran's kind of mid. Like it kind of requires Terra to do its thing. And then Urshifu Rapid is also in that same boat, where I think either of these without Terra is like massively downgraded. Hello and welcome round 3 Reach fans. You mean Roselia, right? Autocorrect moment. So what's the idea here? I don't really know. So Darkrai's your speed control. Garchomp is like Hazard Layer, Physical Blanket Check, Core of Blanket Check, Removal, but like you're defogging your own spikes. So it's just a slow U-turn into Breaker or Shifu Rapid, or like Terra Heatran. Okay. And Fez? What does Fez offer for this team? What is a DCL Fantasy? So I'm planning on running a like fantasy league kind of thing out of my own server, and the concept I have right now is everyone submits a starting roster of 8, one from each team, and there's like a budget cap, and then winning gets you points, there's a leaderboard, all that stuff, maybe a prize at the end. Who knows? We're gonna figure that out in this stream, I think, but for now we're looking at some drafts. I think fantasy is going to be interesting, right? Because the pick'em streams are honestly a little bit boring. So that gives you a little bit of more, maybe a little bit investment into it, where you can like really pick out your fantasy roster, and then in our watch through party, you're like, a little bit more invested in that. It'll be fun. That's cool, thanks. I think it's a cool concept. Shouldn't be too hard to put together, I think. In my head, it seems pretty easy, but obviously we'll see, right? Yeah, I don't think I can sign off on this team. It seems a little bit slow. Like, Garchomp's your second fastest Pokemon does not feel enough. Like, you probably want something between Darkrai, Garchomp, right? Especially considering your only good Scarfer is Heatran. Like, what are you're gonna run Scarf or Shifu? Like, maybe if the team's weak to fighting, you can do that. Let me know if you need help running the fantasy. That would be great. I'll hit you up after. Why Shaman? Well, let's see. Why Shaman? Look at the water resist, dude. It's only Urshifu. So you need a sturdy water resist pretty badly on this team. So actually, Shaman does kind of fit for 7 points. I see the vision on that pick. But also... If you need spreadsheet help, I could probably help there. I've been grinding all summer with an internship. I appreciate that, man. Drafting Fez in 2025, that mon should have been left in whatever year it was introduced in. So, what, 2024? Maybe late 2023 is when it came out, but... No, it was 2024, right? Because Petch was the second DLC? Either way. Fez actually had a pretty good World Cup performance. Watching the games, I was actually surprised by how well Fez was doing. So, not the worst pick. But also, yeah, so Shaman's the water resist, which means you're going to have to bring the Shaman a lot more than you want to. I can't say I'm a fan of this team, unfortunately. Now, this team here is definitely modeled after the not Phantom, the Pardon the Eruption team from DPL 9, where they had Torrenting, Lu Dragonite, Jirachi over Goldango. They had Ogerpon, Tentacruel, and then a different bottom two. What was the bottom two? It was Rotom and Granbull, I want to say. Yeah, Rotom Granbull. So replace the Granbull with Carbink, and then Rotom is Rotom Jirachi is kind of condensed into a Goldango slot here. So is this like an improvement to that team? Who's to say? I think Rotom is a better spin blocker than Goldango, just at that role. But also Goldango is just a better mon in general. So a little bit give and take there. Honestly, this team looks really strong. I would expect this one to do quite well. And then we have Garchomp, Zarude, Cinderace, Goldango, another Goldango. Interesting. We see a Terra Comfy, Terra Avalugg, Latias. I know that Latias plus Zarude is a pretty strong combination. Just on paper and in practice, right? Dual screens, and then most of the time Zarude's able to set up on the things that Latias forces in. So there is that. Cinderace has the speed control. You have decent Scarfers with Goldango, Latias, Garchomp even. You have priority with Comfy. Probably fine. Probably fine being Cinderace the fastest Pokemon here. And this is also a thing where, like, if you really want a hazard stack with Garchomp, you're kind of removing the court change aspect from Cinderace. But it's probably fine. You can run court change with offensive Garchomp and then, you know, like Wisp or something, or Choice Band Cinderace with like a hazard chomp. It's fine. They had a Tarak instead of the Ogre. Did they? Yeah, they did, yeah. Right? Yeah, the Ogerpon was on a Skrelper's team that did pretty well. With a somewhat similar structure. With the Terratorn. Yeah, I got them mixed up, my bad. Yeah, this team looks pretty strong. I quite like this. I would enjoy using this one myself, to be honest. Alright, Valiant Gren. So good offensive duo. Not Terra Gren, notably, because we have Terra Hydrapple. Pecharunt is like... Why do we have a Pecharunt here? Are you prioritizing Spike's Gren? You just want the physical wall? You want the core of like Hydrapple Pecharunt? Like AV Hydrapple with just any Pecharunt should blanket check most of the meta. And then you put a Manabuzz on there as well. It's like this trio is kind of borrowed from the ZFG draft from DPL 9, right? But that team also had an Alomomola. And I think you're going to miss that quite a lot if you're trying to run like a bulky style here, which, to be fair, Iron Valiant Gren, you're not really too worried about running the bulkiest style ever. But I do kind of like the momentum, like slowish momentum with Parting Shot U-turn, and get in like a Specs Greninja or like a Life Orb Iron Valiant multiple times throughout the course of a game. Pretty reasonable. Terra Rhyperior, just a really strong secondary Terra option in my opinion. 7 points for this thing is like an absolute steal. Speaking of absolute steals, we have a Duraludon right here as the steel type on the roster, which is probably not going to cut it if I'm being super honest. Like, if this is your steel type, you're going to really struggle against a lot of dragon types. Like Roaring Moon is just going to completely dumpster a lot of this team. I guess you do have like Terra Fairy Hydrapple to like kind of deal with those sort of things, which is pretty strong as a set. So maybe it's not too bad. But still, these are some threats in the builder. Interesting. So like the stealth rockers available are just Rhyperior Duraludon, which is maybe not the greatest. So your rockers are kind of mid. Spikes like Chestnut, Greninja, sure. I think Terra Chestnut's pretty cool. We had one on World Cup. It actually did some crazy numbers, I'm not gonna lie, with like Swords Dance, Trailblaze, all that stuff. Yeah, this team is like, I feel like it's a little bit conflicted in whether it wants to be an offense team or a fat team. It feels like a little bit of both, where you're not really having a super strong strength. Pretty Fairy weak, relying on Petch and is able an Apple to sponge, which it can be a little risky. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like an identity crisis, right? Because this here is like a fat team, and then this here is like hyper offense almost. So I mean, I guess, right? It could probably work, but it's gonna be a little bit challenging, I think, to build. All right, now Raging Bolt, Lando T, Deoxys. Okay, so we do see an Ogerpon Hearthflame, which in a vacuum is a fantastic Pokemon, but it does require some support because it's a fire type that can't run boots. And so that support is going to be Defog Corviknight, which is like the best defogger in the tier, sure. But also, a lot of rockers can kind of 1v1 Corviknight with Taunt, prevent the defog. Something I really like against Corviknight is to run a Rocky Helmet Taunt. And then if it U-turns, it's taking Chip. And if you taunt the Roost, you get a free turn afterwards, and they still have to take the helmet, right? That's something I like to do versus Corviknight in general. I think versus this team, that could be pretty strong. Like, taunt spam, get hazards up. Because this team is, like, pretty weak to hazards. You do have your own hazards to match, but anytime you want to bring the Ogerpon, you're going to be prioritizing removal, which kind of goes against the Hisuian Samurott So it's kind of conflicting there. Like, this combination of 3, I feel should not be on the same team. You see what I'm saying? Ogerpon requires removal to get the most out of it, and your only removal is Defog with a Hisuian Samurott setting spikes. So it's a spike stack Defog team. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That being said, the Mon quality of this top 6 is really high. I think all of these Pokemon are really threatening in their own right. Corviknight included in that as a defensive win condition, right? Iron defense sets are pretty reasonable. I've seen them win. And then obviously U-turn, you really like your slow pivots into these big breakers like Raging Bolt, Life Orb Deoxys, Ogerpon Hearthflame. So I really like the Corviknight on this team. I just feel like this Hisuian Samurott does not exactly fit with this combination here. But that being said, it'll probably still be okay. It's just a little bit awkward to build because are you trying to get spikes up or are you trying to defog? Pick one, right? You can't have both. Alright. That's all for the Surfers. Now we have Armory, which is captained by myself and Aster J. Pretty interesting stuff. We have a round 4 Terra Uniclus. Yes, sir. But we'll get there in a sec. We'll get there. So what's the idea here? Great Tusk, Cinderace, Aura. Yep, exactly. So this is a team where we weren't sure what Terramon we were going to get. Figured Great Tusk, Cinderace is a good combination. And then Jirachi is like good with these. Like the top 3 is pretty strong and flexible. Yeah, this team makes no sense. Yep. I'm right though. Tell me I'm wrong. Anyway, so top 3, pretty reasonable, all-rounder kind of stuff. Overcloak Rotom Wash we decided on because it was like pretty flexible. You could get multiple Terra Pokemon with it, and then Enamorus dropped all the way to round 6. So we just picked that one up. It felt a little bit stronger than the other options at the time. Thank you, Undead. Yep. Literally me. Dude, Terra Enam is so good. Yo, honestly, this week 1 matchup, Enam looks really fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but Rotom, Overquill, Great Tusk, Jirachi, like, really solid bulk on this team. Cinderace has speed control. Maybe not the fastest team of all time, but you do have pretty decent Scarfers. You can do Speed Booster Tusk, Scarf Jirachi, Scarf Rotom, Scarf Enam. You have so many speed options. Over under 0.5 brings for Meganium plus Altaria in the whole season. In the whole season, we'll probably bring it a few times. Don't sleep. We drafted them for a reason, for certain matchups, yep. But yeah, it's definitely very much a top 6 team as like an identity point. Overquill does a lot of heavy lifting here in terms of like resists and stuff. Does it actually? Because like Psychic resist, you also have Jirachi for. Ghost resist, it definitely is the main Ghost resist, but that's going to be typical. Yeah, Ogerpon Wellspring is kind of the main thing for these two, right? Because Ogerpon just 6-0s at lead, low-key, but it's all good. Yeah, this team is like a little bit of Volt Turn here with these 3, and that allows Enam to get in a few times. Cinderace is also pretty threatening in its own right. Like the Cinderace Enam, these are good offensive synergy mons where like the things that wall one of them is not going to wall the other one. You're always going to have something that breaks through. And Great Tusk just the goat of utility, right? So yeah, I like this team overall. And then we have a Zarude Terrapagos team. Now this is the top 2 that you can very rarely get. Yo, this team is so glazable. I agree, J-Bear. You're actually spitting right now. This top 2 is pretty rare right now. We got Zarude round 1, and Terrapagos actually fell to round 2, which is interesting because in other pools it was going 5th overall, was the soonest pick for it. A lot of them were like, also like pick 7, pick 6, around that part, around there. So making it back round 2 is actually kind of a miracle. So we have a Zarude Terrapagos team. This is broken. Yeah, of course. So what does this mean though? It means our first 2 picks are not fast Pokemon, so our speed control ends up being Sneasler, which is maybe the less desirable of like the Pokemon in that speed bracket, but it works out pretty well here. This is like pretty similar to the Draft League World Cup teams, where Sneasler and Terapagos force a lot of Terra Ghost, and Zarude takes advantage of that fact. So a little bit of synergy there. Araquanid is your speed control. Could be, yeah, could be. You also have several great screen setters, right? Latias being like, I think, the best screen setter in the entire tier. Tinkaton is pretty alright. And then Electivire in some matchups can also run screens, which is super funny. But yeah, you have like the screens Healing Wish into Terapagos Zarude. Pretty strong combination here. Latias is Mesprit at home. Sure, Jay Ricky, sure. Whatever helps you sleep. Scarf Sneasler is good speed control. Yeah, low-key in DPL, I played against a Scarf Sneasler and I got cooked. So like, it's definitely a strong Pokemon in some matchups, for sure. You have Tinkaton, just like so much utility in one Pokemon, a lot of resists. Yeah, maybe the downside of Tinkaton is that it's doing quite a lot on this team. Like, Tinkaton can do anything that you tell it to. It can do one thing. But if you start asking it to check 2-3 Pokemon in a matchup, that's where it can start to struggle, which I think maybe is the weak point of this team, is that Tinkaton is kind of the only thing stopping quite a few things. But that's going to be for the people building it, which is going to be us, so we'll find a way, of course. Terra Rhyperior, I already said, is like a fantastic secondary Terra option, but most of the time you're going to be seeing Terra Zarude, like, obviously. Iraq and Rhyperior are cool picks. I feel like Zarude teams are usually so reliant on it offensively, but those guys are strong. Yeah, 100%. Like Araquanid and Rhyperior, they provide some power. A lot of physical offense here, but also Terapagos, Latias are no slouches on the special side, so pretty balanced team. Speaking of balanced, a very fat balanced team right here with the Torrenting Lu, as is standard at the moment. Trap has a broken move, so it's fine. True. This is the Zooch team? Yeah. OMG, we made the thumbnail. This is what we drafted for? 100%. What's up, Addison? We'll get to you in a sec. Don't worry. Yeah, so we see this top 3, which is pretty popular in this tour right now. So obviously, Spike Sack, Knockoff, Spin Block. The synergy is like really, really obvious here, right? Terra Altaria, Typhlosion, Toxicroak, Evire. There's so much drip. Literally true. Alright, Latios here. This is an interesting one because now we initially wanted Dragonite here and it was so close to coming back to us, but then it got sniped like one pick before us by a team that already had Garchomp, if I remember correctly. So that was awesome. Sorry, gotta cough for a little bit. Dude, when I'm sick, I cough for like several weeks afterwards. It's so annoying. But I'm fine now. It's just a cough. Super annoying. Going to bed soon. We'll probably see you in the morning. Alright, good night, Addison. Shout out to the UK. Big time zone. Okay, so Latios here is like the speed control. It's like somewhat of a breaker. You have good resists, right? So like the top 3 is fine, but they don't have like a water, fire resist. Once Torn Terras, it's usually losing that ground resist. But yeah, what are we looking at the moment? We're looking at Armory teams, which is my team. Shout out. Yeah, bro, I feel like you benched it half of the games. Latios is the GOAT, people sleep. Latios was on your BBR championship team, right? But anyways, yeah, you had like Latios, Great Tusk. What else was on that team? I don't know. Yeah, I came to like 5 games. Shout out. Yeah, Latios, definitely it's like weaker gen, but still 14 points. And a lot of the resists that it has are pretty useful here. Then Quaquaval we also got. At this point in the draft, it was Quaquaval or Blastoise as the spinner. and nothing else was really viable on this, so we went with Quaquaval. So it's like the best spinner that was available at the time. It's a pretty reasonable win condition. It can also knock off things like boots for our Ting-Lu to get more value. And got told to redact it after suggesting Jolteon. Shout out. Latios is so weird. Sometimes it feels like a god, and some others it's so ass. I like the Rise and Soldew calm mindsets that are happening. Yeah, that's a thing in OU, right? I think in World Cup, people have started to bring Soldew CM Latios in tournaments. Which is interesting, right? Obviously in OU, stuff like Ting-Lu is never running Throat Chop, so it becomes a little bit easier when like the main special threat is completely walled by you and has to whirlwind out. Take a big Draco. Yeah, Terra Steel Calm Mind, yeah. Yeah, in DPL it didn't look great, that's right. Yeah, this one was like a little bit a little bit of a like 2 a.m. cope pick from me and Zooch, just seeing what was available, what was the best option. This is what we landed on. He's pretty happy with it, which is all that really matters at the end of the day. And at the end we have Skarm as like the other ground check, right? Because if Tornterras, you don't want Latios to be the only ground check, so Skarm fits quite well. A secondary hazard setter, right? Because Ting-Lu often doesn't want to run like double hazard. It has other moves that it wants, so Spike Skarm rocks Ting-Lu or vice versa. Skarm also gives us a really nice blanket check to physical threats that would threaten Pecharunt. Stuff like Great Tusk, Lando T, that sort of thing. What else? It was a pretty big list of Pokemon that Skarm can check that is actually really important here. So we got Skarm, and then Vigavolt Typhlosion was the best value we could get for 5 points at the end of the draft. Right? If I'm your opponent, I'm not running a single physical attack into this shit. Yeah. I think Latios is being an offensive piece that loses to most top speed is the issue. Something like Latios is willing to go Colbert to deal with the top dark speed, but Latios needs the item slot for breaking. I mean, it does feel that way sometimes, yeah. But Latios is just weaker, right? So Latios is a bit stronger, and this team doesn't really need Healing Wish. So on this team specifically, I think Latios is just a superior pick compared to Latios. Like, what are you Healing Wishing here? Your Ting-Lu? Like, doesn't feel super impactful. But yeah. Ting-Lu, that's it, yeah. The Latios for a little bit more power, a little bit of flip turn action sometimes, you know? Better choice to user, better calm minder. All that stuff. Typhlosion so you can Eruption again. Yeah, Erupts all over the place. Alright, and then here, let's move on to this team, which is going to be, if you've been watching my videos, it looks a little bit familiar, right? Terapagos, Lando T, Keldeo. And Hydreigon also. These were 4 Pokemon that were on my BBR draft. And I really enjoyed using Terra Keldeo in that. I was a little bit of a meme where I was just kind of farming kills with it, trying to get a goal there. That wasn't really a great comparison, my bad, more so meaning being offense that needs the item slot because you can't 1v1 most top speed is awkward. Yeah, it's definitely more of a matchup fish kind of Pokemon, where like some matchups it'll be really fantastic, some of them it'll be, you know, a little bit less useful, but in those less useful matchups, you do have like the Trick Scarf option. You can always just flip turn to something that is good, like Typhlosion, or like a Terratorn. So it's like not the worst thing ever. Terra Keldeo, he's so back. And this time he's paired with a Terra Hydreigon, which we saw LowQP use in World Cup en route to a championship run there on Team Canada, and it actually looked pretty strong. Hydreigon also is like pretty decent in standard tiers with Terra, so I figured as a secondary Terra option, pretty cool with Keldeo. Poor Terapagos, no one told him the theme was Gen 7. Well, that's an improvement from my BBR team, which was very much Gen 6, right? Wait, Toxicroak GOAT for the Meow matchup? Literally. Dude, Zooch was telling me Toxicroak is a throw pick. And I was like, no, he's the GOAT. Look. So I was like, it came to me in a dream, I must draft Toxicroak, and so I did, and he's so drip. Also Wall's Wellspring, it forces Zen Headbutt on it, at the very least, but yeah, it is useful for that matchup as well, you're right. But yeah, Terapagos, Landoti, Keldeo, this top three pretty strong, and then Weavile. Weavile, Keldeo, really strong offensive synergy together. Obviously, we've seen that for years and years and years. My Allo check ignores the Zen calc. Yeah. I mean, the water absorb, like dry skin, is like pretty valuable for this team because the water resist are Hydreigon, Keldeo, which are not the sturdiest of all time. Like Hydreigon's usually good for it. Keldeo can beat like the water types with Ice Beam coverage, and then Comfy kind of blanket checks, but still the really powerful ones like the Ogerpon Wellspring, for example, opposing Keldeo, right, can kind of destroy Hydreigon. So Toxicroak helps against that as well. It's just a decent two-point pick, and it has like so much drip, right? Anyways, I've been spending too much time talking about my 2-point Toxicroak. What's the rest of the team? Right, so one of the weaknesses on the BBR draft that I used with the same top 3 core was lack of speed and lack of flying resist. That's two things that were pretty punishable throughout the season. Forced me to try a little bit harder than I needed to otherwise. So Weavile Metagross kind of solves both of those problems very well. And another thing is that Metagross gives me a second rocker. Hydreigon gives me a third, but let's be real, Metagross and Landoti are going to be the main rockers for this team. And yeah, so this combination is really good, I think. Metagross also gives you something like a Dragon Resist. Comfy as well kind of fortifies that. Drap is a rocker too, literally true. Yeah, this team has good rocker options for sure. Comfy is just here for like priority. It just generally checks a lot of things. U-turn momentum into Keldeo, stuff like that. Pretty strong pick. I really like this team. I'll probably be using it quite a lot over the season. I'm using it week 1. Shout out. Nice, dude. We just share the same brain cell. Yeah. My bad. So, yeah, I really like this team overall. Good Scarfers, right? Good speed control, really good priority on this team. If you look at it, Vacuum Wave, Ice Shard, Bullet Punch, Draining Kiss, Vacuum Wave, Sucker Punch, Bullet Punch. Look, even then, Toxicroak is just the GOAT. Oh my god, he's so good. Can't wait for the discussion of VGC drafts. Hell nah. I'm pretty sure we're just going to do SV, to be honest, and then we'll start looking at the fantasy stuff. Because if I'm being super real, I don't have time for all this, you know? This is so much. Now you gotta put a rack on that Enam team for the self-goobing webs. Self-goobing webs, like, you put a rack on the this one, so you webs up, and if they court change, oh yeah, because you have court change, yeah, and then your Enam is +1 speed with specs. Your Tusk is boots. Cinderace is boots. The rest of the team doesn't care about webs. Oh my god, he's actually so smart. Why didn't we think of that? Alright, at mids, we're dropping Rotom Watch for Araquanid. You heard it here first. Contrary Terra Fairy Enam. So true. We just solved the metagame? Literally. Alright, this guy might be a genius. But anyways, I like this team quite a lot. It's pretty cool. Drop the Altaria for Spidobs? Wait, he's actually cooking. Hold up. You right. Alright, on to the main event. The round 4 Ridiculous. Alright. Let me explain. This team is definitely the odd one out in terms of our drafts and like conventional goodness, right? Okay, but where did our points go? Right here, bro. In this top 3. So Valiant, Dragonite, Ogerpon, Wellspring, obviously a fantastic trio to start off the draft. The main problem is Valiant isn't a good defensive fairy, and Ogerpon is not fantastic as a defensive water. It can be, but generally you really need removal with Ogerpon, so it demands rolls. Is Keegan in your server? Because I see a Registeel. He's actually not in our server, but I did say in the server that, hey, Keegan told me it's good, trust me. And so we drafted it. That's not the whole story, but yeah, round 4 Reuniclus, how inspirational. Yeah, so basically, with his top 3, it's a wheel pick. So once it came back to us for this, we knew we wanted Crocodile because it's actually really fantastic roll compression with his top 3. Because you need a rocker, you need knockoff, you need a ground type just in general. Taunt, it's like pretty good here. Intimidate, blanket, physical check. It does a lot for the team. Good offensive synergy with Valiant, right? Sure, bro, just change the Valiant to guard, and this is an Oras team. Nice LARP. What about that Ogerpon Wellspring, huh? Want to explain? But anyways, just make that a Ludicolo. What am I saying? Yeah, literally. So this top 3 really good offensively. Pretty decent defensive value as well from Dragonite Ogerpon, but there are a lot of rolls that you need. So Crocodile feels a lot of them, but we also knew we could get it round 8 because no one else was, no one else could viably pick it. So we're like, okay, let's finish this draft. And so these are the 4 that we landed on. Now, let me explain. So Reuniclus with Terra, this is the untapped potential, right? People are sleeping, they're about to wake up. This Pokemon is the truth. You heard it here first, you're gonna hear it later. And yeah, Reuniclus is gonna pop up to like 12 points, trust me. No, that's an exaggeration. But basically, Glop was using a team with Terra Reuniclus in some tour, I think. Some league, I don't remember exactly which one, but he really liked it, thought it was very strong. And so we decided to get it. And yeah, Reuniclus is going to be the new Terra Torn after his tour. Yeah, the thing that Reuniclus does for this team is it blanket checks everything. Like, if you're facing like a Raging Bolt, Terra Fairy AV is very much a possibility. If you're facing a Valiant, Reuniclus absolutely smokes that thing. If you're playing, like, for example, a Terrapagos, say we're facing a Terrapagos, we can spin block with AV Reuniclus forever. Forever and ever and ever. And then T-Spikes go up, Spikes Ogerpon. It's going to be a good time, right? Now, what does this mean? Our Ogerpon is not tearing. And that's a little bit of a downside. But Reuniclus does bring a lot to the table. Just basically AV checks check a lot of things that this team is concerned about. And then, obviously, Fizdef Rocky Helmet is also there, as well as offensive Trick Room. It's a really versatile mon, and for 7 points, you can't really beat the value, right? Glop convinced us to get a Terra Clef and DPL from the same league. Don't ask how it ended up doing. Is that the same Terra Clef where it would have won if Sub-Zero remembered that he could Terra his Clef, but instead he Terra'd his guy that was dying immediately anyways? Was it Raging Bolt on that team? I don't remember. But he Terra'd his other guy and then immediately lost because his Clef was weak to Poison or Steel or whatever. I remember it's a game like that, me personally. So it's just user error, etc. When I used Terra Wellspring, I found myself using the secondary Terra like more often. This league had no Terra budget, so I had Terra Arch and Rain. That would do it, yeah. Yes, Undead. I remember it vividly. Our Clef died like turn 3. Then it's not the game I'm talking about, bro. It was Terra Electric Clef. I remember it very clearly. And it would have swept. We were watching it in a VC, me and some other friends. We were like, bro, Terra Clef literally sweeps this endgame. And then he Terra'd the other guy and lost. We're like, okay, this guy's just stupid. Anyways, Reuniclus for 7 points. Really good value for this draft. A 9-point Tentacruel. This was like the best spinner that fit. Gives us a grounded poison. Another fairy check, right? And you get removal for your Ogerpon, which is very important. Ogerpon, we know from experience, right? Really does not like hazards up. Dragonite as well, if you want to run non-boot sets, you really want hazards gone. So Tentacruel is kind of like the best option. We never brought a single Terra Electric Clef. This guy is just dreaming up scenarios. It literally happened. Don't gaslight me. And then Registeel here. So Registeel is superior. Basically, there's two options here for like low tier steel. It's going to be Registeel or Fortress. Fortress was taken, but we wanted Registeel anyways. In the draft chat, it was like Fortress was taken one pick before us, and I was like, no! But it was a LARP. I wanted Registeel the whole time. And then Superior is a pretty interesting one because it's like a nice ground check, right? Because once Ogerpon Terras, the only ground resist is Dragonite, which is not enough. And then Superior gives us screens into Dragonite if we want it. Screens into Ogerpon setup, Swords Dance, Trailblaze type stuff. Can't believe Elphi didn't watch the end of my video and accused me of forgetting. I'm not watching it all the way through, bro. I watched the first 10 seconds till you leak and then I comment and then I dip. Glare support here is nice. Yeah, Glare plus like Life Orb Valiant, Glare plus Ogerpon, really strong synergies here with the Superior. As well as, you know, just like Sub Leech Seed is pretty strong. Leaf Storm with a Scarf. I mean, that set is still as good as ever, you know? I think Serp does quite a lot for this team. So in terms of like value picks, I think on this team, Reuni, Registeel, and Superior, they fit quite well. Registeel is like a flying check, right? A great rocker. Like Registeel can get rocks up versus anything if Crook wants to do something else. Another T-Wave guy, so you have a little bit of pair spam going on, right? Yeah, I just think it's a decent mon for 4 points. Like, the base stats for 4 points, it's just a good value pick. And then it allows us to go for these, like, greedy offense picks. So yeah, that's my own drafts. Pretty cool. Alright, let's look at the wishes. Now, these guys just love Alomomola. Round 3 pick in multiple pools. Yep. Typical. Who's on wishes? Oh, what? Is that who? I wonder which team who is going to be using. Guys, hint. It's this one. He's going to be using Darkrai, Petra, Aloe, Corviknights. We also love Glomora, apparently. 3 Glomoras? Bro. Is this a panda thing? Is he on this? Right? Or are these all who teams? Widowy. Panda's addicted, man. He literally is. Like, Glamour's the goat, Glamour's the goat. And then he benches it half the time. Like, I'm not kidding. He's my captain, dude. Yeah, literally. So yeah, this is the who team. Very defensive. You have Prankster Encore, you have Unaware, you have Removal, you have your Big Breaker, you have your Speed Control. This is like a textbook who draft. You know what I mean? Tealpot for 9 is low-key a steal, I can't lie, as a U-turn Encore Spike spot. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think for 9 points, it does bring a lot of value. Pretty nice stuff. They had to do it twice. Yo, these guys just draft the same team over and over again, no? 2 Darkrai's as well. They just don't care. I respect that, actually. Anything else that they doubled up on? I don't see anything. Yeah, I think it's just that. Tinglu low kicks? Yeah. Crown? Do they have multiple crowns? No, right? Oh, they do. One of them's Terra. Yeah. Alright, so anyways, let's look at these teams. Why do I always see these colorful ass Terrap, Moon, Moth, Sinistra teams? Okay, so to explain this and why it's so popular, we can go back to DPL Season 8, where Band Chasers had a Terrap, Roaring Moon, Iron Moth, Sinistra. What else did they have? They had Piloswine on there. They had... I don't remember the rest. But that team went 7-2. Very strong performance. And yeah, Terra Mew, that's what it was. Yeah. Did I have an Iron Moth on there? It might not have had a Moth. Yeah, if I'm being so real, I'm going to open the doc. That was the Craig team? Yes. Where is it? Oh, it's an Enam. So we're both wrong. We're both wrong. But this team over here, Terra Enam with Terrap, Glamora, Roaring Moon, Sinistra, Piloswine, and Iron Crown. Yeah, so we were pretty far off. But basically this team, if you look at the records page, this is still on the team, right? It was the number 1 team. 7-2 record. Pretty strong stuff. So people have been trying to chase this for a while now. We've seen Terap Moon drafts for probably the past year or so, off and on. And this is the attempt of it for DCL. Right. I think there's another one later. Yeah, there's one on Judgment as well, right here. But we'll get to there in a sec. But yeah, that's why people kind of combine those. I think PTE had this kinda. Yeah, PTE also had one in DPL Season 9. They kind of copied the Piloswine Sinistra continuation of it. They also had a Soon Quillfish on there, which is interesting, but anyways. Fun fact, the Terap Moon teams are fighting this week. Oh, that's awesome. Pretty cool. Slick's team, I remember, yes. Slick was using it quite a lot. Sub-Zero was also using it a lot, actually. I think that was the team that Sub-Zero used the most. Maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely saw him use it. Anyways. Torn Tinglu, obvious synergy. Aloe. Aloe is pretty nice with Tinglu. Just blanket checks the whole meta, basically, between these 3. So then you can kind of spam offense, right? So Glamora, I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Clyde, that was unfortunate. So Glamora for like more hazards, I guess. You want a secondary rocker, makes sense. Also, they're just addicted to Glamora, so they're gonna fit it everywhere they can. Gives you Mortal Spin, which is like okay, I guess. Also, the offensive sets like Meteor Beam, Rock Polish, or like Scarf. I think those are the strongest Glim sets in my opinion. Someone sent L5 to quarantine. Yeah, my bad, bro. Alright, then we have Ogerpon for more spikes, more hazards, fast Encore. You do like the faster Encore when you have an Alomola because subs are just punished immediately. You have Ogerpon and Whirlwind Tinglu, so Aloe fits quite well on this. Then Lokix as the breaker. Because you don't really have another breaker on this team, right? Like your main breaker would be like Specs Torn, which maybe isn't going to be the most common set that you bring here. Right, there's so many Glamoras. They're literally addicted. One thing with Glim teams is fighting resists are not too great. You see it in SV3 here. Fighting resist, yeah, it's just Lane OT, right? And Dusknor, that doesn't really count. On this one though, you have like Torn plus Goldango, so it's like a little bit better. And then Aloe is a fighting resist if you close your eyes. Yeah, Lokix is pretty cool here. It gives you priority. First impressions with Terra is pretty strong if you want to keep your flying type on Torn. Yeah, pretty good pick here. And Goldango, obviously with all these hazards, you want a spin blocker, defog blocker. Goldango's that guy. And then Avalug for spin, sure. Alright, now this is the Who team. Yeah, if we follow the Who flowchart, right? He always gets one of Meowscarada Darkrai as your fast revenge killer, which, check. You have your spin blocker, check. Blanket physical check. I mean, these 3 honestly, are covering every physical threat in the game, basically. At least close to it, right? So check. You have your Unaware guy, you have your Prankster Encore. You have several good AV Pokemon, so Aloe, Cyclizar, Removal, right? Spin plus Defog. He likes that combination. And then the big breaker, Chi-Yu. Because fat teams that just do nothing all game, they don't work in SV. You need some kind of big button presser to take advantage of like your flip turns, your parting shots, your U-turns, U-turn. Yeah. Thing is, on these type of builds, Rai is just so much worse than Meow. I agree. They had a Meow as well, so he could have used this team, but I guess I know he also thinks Darkrai is passable, so yeah, he probably just decided, Meow team, they could use some offense. I'm fine with the Darkrai. Wims is low-key goated, to be honest. I love running Endeavor on it. That's actually one of the most common techs against like a Zarude. We saw it all the time. It was like Encore without Prankster. so you don't get blocked by Terra Dark. It was like Rocky Helmet, Encore, Endeavor. And that team, or like that Whimsicott set, the only thing that Zarude can really do against it is Terra Poison, Terra Blast. And then if you don't have that exact set, it will just lose to Whimsicott 1v1. So it's a pretty cool anti-Zarude Pokemon, which Zarude usually does smash this kind of teams, so Whimsicott does fit quite well. I like that a lot. Yeah, who will be using this every week? Spoiler. So we all agree that Zarude is a fraud now? I can't believe it. Nah, Zarude's good. User issue in DPL, trust. Now, they have another Darkrai, which is interesting. So these guys just love Darkrai. I'm pretty sure they took it like pick 5 overall on one of these. But yeah, they just love Darkrai. Darkrai Lando T. We've seen this combination before on Iron Valiant teams, but here there is no Iron Valiant, so obviously going to be a little bit worse. But you have Tinkaton as the fairy, which is like good defensive option. Really good rockers on this team. Garg, Glim, Tink, Lando. You're always going to have a good rocker in any matchup. So I like that about the team. I think Garg is honestly underutilized right now for 8 points with Terra. Forces a lot of prep. We got pick 5 Rai on the Who team. Alright, yeah, I knew it was one of them. But yeah, another Darkrai. Another Ogerpon. This one, I'm not 100% sure why Ogerpon is the selection. It makes a lot more sense on SV1. This one, I probably would have preferred something else in this slot, but what else? I don't really know. I'm not going to go looking. If you can find out the cloak guy, it still puts in work. Yeah, I think maybe you drafted Ogerpon for the knockoff, like knockoff Ogre, knockoff Tinkaton, and then maybe knockoff Darkrai is enough to remove the cloaks for Garg if you wanted to go for that win path. Pretty reasonable. Also removes helmets for Urshifu, so knockoff spam does kind of benefit both of them. And that's interesting, right? Because Garg Urshifu, you want specialized items for both of them, right? Rocky Helmet and Covert Cloak, respectively. That's interesting, right? Forcing a lot of prep that maybe you can't fit all of it on the same team, at least not very well. Actually pretty cool, I like that. It is interesting, yeah. And then Garg is like a blanket check to a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Pretty cool, honestly. I don't mind this one at all. I'm actually super interested to see how this does. And maybe you could have used a little bit more, like maybe a better screener would be appreciated with the Urshifu, because screens into Urshifu is like literally game winning in so many matchups. I feel like maybe you could have fit something that gets like both screens. That's not like Tinkaton, which usually has other things that it wants to do. Does Glamora get dual screens? It might. I feel like I've seen that before. More removal than Moral Spin, please? Yeah, that's another weakness of the team, you're right. It does? Yeah, I thought so. But still, like, your screeners are on the slow side. So the support for your Urshifu is a little bit lacking, but again, knockoff spam is still supporting it decently well. Yeah, I don't mind this team that much. It was pretty good. Alright, next one, Meowscarada Garchomp. This is a combination we've seen quite a lot in a lot of places. Garchomp often falling to round 2, which I think is a mistake, to be honest. I think Garchomp's actually really, really strong as a Pokemon in general. Just very flexible, all that stuff. I think it's better than Ting-Lu by a margin. But anyways, round 2 Garchomp, shout out. And this is like late round 2 as well, because Meowscarada is like a top 3 pick in every draft pool. So yeah. So what is the... So the water type on this team is Araquanid. And the fighting type's Annihilape. So Annihilape Meowscarada does have some decent synergy, right? So Chomp Spikes, Glim Spikes, Sticky Web. This is a team that you want a spin blocker, so Annihilape is pretty useful for that. Also, like, blocks defog in the sense that you get a +2 if they ever do fog. Yeah. This is interesting, because I feel like this team... I don't know if it has, like, the strongest defensive profile. I might be talking out of my ass a little bit, to be honest. But I feel like if I were using this team, I would be weak to so much every week. Like, any ground type with Stone Edge is, like, a real pain. Right? Like, say, opposing land OT is really obnoxious, no? Maybe I'm, like, overhyping that a little bit, because Annihilate Garchomp is probably good enough. Those guys like ENMT. ENMT for 7 is, like, good value, I think. You have your Healing Wish option for Annihilate. I don't mind this at all, to be honest. Why are we drafting others are ground immune? Yeah, that's where it becomes a little bit challenging, right? Because this team, I feel like it should be struggling versus ground types a lot. Like Great Tusk. I guess Annihilate on a balloon can kind of cover that. But, yeah, a little bit rough around the edges, for sure. Meowscarada, usually the checks to it are going to be like poison types, so Garchomp takes advantage of that, Crown takes advantage, sets up on those quite often, so pretty decent synergy between the top 3 offensively, and then Crown Garchomp can be quite defensive if they need to be. So this team, it probably works, to be honest. It's probably fine. Annihilate low-key is good into Tusk. Yeah, on a balloon it kind of like super hard walls. So maybe it's not the end of the world, maybe I'm like doomering a little bit too much. Yeah, it seems overall pretty passable. I don't mind it that much. Magneton for 2. Kind of funny. Might force some prep. Like into Corviknight stuff. You trap like Corviknight maybe for your Iron Crown, for your Meowscarada. Pretty good value, honestly. For your Garchomp as well. Like in the Corv matchup, Magneton's actually super valuable. That's pretty cool. And 2 points. Who's putting Magneton in 2 points? I guess us, huh? I'm on the Tyrion Council. Alright, Terrapagos Roaring Moon. This is the team that we talked about at the beginning. The Sinistra. Like, this is kind of classic, right? We saw Iron Moth on the what was it? PTE version of this, like, style in DPL Season 9 with the Sinistra as well. So this 3 and Sinistra is we've seen before. And then Gliscor taking over as the ground type of choice. It does give you a good spiker. Yeah, one weakness of this team from PTE was that you couldn't really boot spam effectively because you had 2 Pokemon that need to run Eviolite. So this kind of solves that problem because Gliscor fits very well, unlike boot spam, hazard stack, just sit there and wait for the opponent to die type stuff. And that's something where like the Roaring Moon, Iron Moth, Sinistra, Gliscor, it's like pretty good, right? Because Roaring Moon can be Roost, Iron Moth can be Boots, Morning Sun. You have that option available. Iron Crown's pretty cool here. Would I prefer an Iron Crown Terra to a Gliscor Terra here? That's an interesting question. What do you guys think? Because I think both of them get quite a lot better with Terra. Iron Crown more offensively than defensively. I guess both of them, right? But, they already have Terra Crown on another team, so I can see the logic. I mean, these people, obviously, they don't mind drafting 2 of the same thing. Like look at them. I think I just think Gliscor is stronger. I guess on this team, Iron Crown is kind of functioning more as a defensive steal. Whereas on this one, it's very much an offensive piece. Yeah, because this is like the only Dragon Resist on the whole roster. So you more likely is going to want it to stay its type. Yeah, Babble, exactly. You know, J-Script thinks Crown is better. We have the same predicament in a different tour. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think Terra Gliscor is just correct here. Yeah, okay. So wishes, overall, I don't mind these drafts. I think they're probably going to do pretty well in SV overall. Alright, Alliance now. Who is captaining Alliance again? It's Odin and Kyle. Alright. And right off the bat, we have the Meowscarada Keldeo combination, which has been so powerful recently. And then Iron Treads, of course. Has like the spinner utility guy. Stealth Rocker alongside Mesprit and Duraludon. First team Insane Aura Unbeatable. This is a strong looking team, honestly. I would love to use this. Dragonite in the round 4 pick. Good value. Mesprit. Like just utility guy. So they have like Wind Condition, Breaker, Revenge Killer, and then 2 utility guys. Although Iron Treads can also be offensive. Like it's actually low-key like super slept on offensive treads. I think it's quite strong. But yeah. Utility spam. Good knockoff users overall, so. And then like this last slot, Thundy T, I'm a little bit curious if we could have got something better in this bottom 3, because these 3 all feel a little bit mid. Thundy T does kind of rely on Terra quite a bit more than most Pokemon in its price range, and so you're taking Terra away from Keldeo, which often is not the end of the world, right? Keldeo can kind of do its thing without Terra in a lot of matchups, but sometimes you do really need that Terra. And then your Thundurus becomes a little bit worse. I don't know. Crazy Meow didn't only steal Weavile's job, he stole Weavile's best friend, Keldeo, too. This is so tough, man. Thundy T at base 101 means base 100s get to run Adamant, which isn't too great. But yeah, that's actually true. A lot of Pokemon get to run Adamant Modest versus this team. Shout out Keldeo, yep. One thing this team does have pretty good is like Vacuum Wave plus E-Speed is going to be pretty reasonable. It means you don't always have to run Scarf Meowscarada. You can run like Banded sets. And you still have like revenge options. The thing is they're both blocked by Terra Ghost. So there is, you know, stuff like that. But then Terra Ghost means Meowscarada is hitting it super effective. Not the end of the world. Shout out to Keldeo the GOAT. Yup. Swallow as like the T-Spikes absorber. It's like, sure. I get it. And then Duraludon is the second steal. Like if you need like a bulkier option, Duraludon's there. No, spin blocker is interesting. I don't think you need a spin blocker on this team. Nobody really runs Spikes Meowscarada very often. It's like its 4th best set or something like that. And wow, my voice is a little bit hoarse, a little bit dry. Remember to drink water, everybody. Water's great. Yeah, I love the top 5. I'm just not sold by the bottom 3, which is how a lot of drafts go a lot of the time, so I'll give them a pass here. Top 5 is good enough for me to give this a pass. Shout out Water. Yep. Shout out Water. Yep. Shout out Keldeo. Speaking of waters, Samurot's the water type on this team, bro. Okay. Cool. This is some copium for sure. Dude, this team doesn't work, dude. This is gonna go horribly. I can already tell. Because, like, look at this team against, like, a Keldeo. You just lose. You just freaking lose. I tear my Keldeo to a water type, and I click Surf, and something will die. Every single time. The Raging Bolt has to be a water resist Terra every week that you play a water type. It's like so annoying. What? Tatsugiri fixes this? That's a sentence that was uttered in 2025. Sure. Terra Water Bolt every week, tough. Yeah. Okay, this is like the kind of team that I've talked about a few times, where the Pokemon are all like good individually, but you lack resist to like several types, right? Like your fighting check is like Enam and Lando T, both weak to ice, so you can run like Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and then you have 2 open slots on stuff like Okie Dokie. That's like so annoying, no? Right? Like this whole team is covered by like 2 move slots on like so many Pokemon. You know what I mean? Okay, but offensively it is pretty strong, right? Raging Bolt, Cinderace, Weavile, Lano T, I guess. I don't know, Lano T has like lost its offensive potency in SV, but it's still great utility, great Pokemon overall. Drop the bottom 3. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, this one I can't get behind. I don't think Weavile works here, to be honest. Weavile's definitely a strange pick on this team. I don't really see the vision. I'm sure they had a reason for picking it, but I don't know, man. Hold on, look at these speed tiers. You go from Cinderace to Lando T. Am I getting that right? Cinderace to Lando T as your speed gap. Oh my god. So you're looking at stuff like Adamant Zarude, Modest Enam. You're looking at Adamant Ogrepons. You're looking at... Oh my god, this team gets worse the longer I look at it. I'm sorry. This is a thumbs down. Just put an Ogrepon on this instead of Weavile. Yeah, honestly. That does fit quite a lot better, I think. The Cloudstar on the next team is making me depressed as fuck. They really think they're who? Torn is modest, max HP, max special attack, oh my god. Well, Torn would be, you might want to outspeed Cinderace, but, yeah, a lot of Pokemon are going to be modest versus this team, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Besides maybe run Adamant Cinderace yourself, just call it out, and just aggro creep. I guess, man. My headcanon is someone said, let's grab Samurott, and everyone on the team signed up on it, not realizing it was regular, not Hisui. I mean, they had 1 point at the end. What do you want? Yeah. I think this is like, oh shit, we have no water resist. Let's get Samurott. Alright, so thumbs down on this one, sadly. And now another Iron Valiant Greninja Fat Core. What is it with teams in doing this? This is the second one. We already saw this like 2 teams ago, right? Or no, 3 teams ago. Like we saw this exact same team basically, bar for bar. Yeah, the difference is this one has a Jirachi, which is a better Pokemon. Me, when my Cloud wants to set hazards with my removal, is defog. Literally. No, my removal is Hisui and Avalugg, the GOAT. He's cut off, but it says in parentheses, the GOAT. You just gotta trust me on that one. So another Hydrapple, Mandibuzz, Gren Valiant structure. Again, like, what's the vision here? This is like definitely more on the offense side, I think. But also, you have a dumbass Claude, Hisui, and Avalugg at the bottom, so that makes me think it's more trying to be a fat team. I don't know, man. Identity Crisis. Skull. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this one. For the same reasons as the Surfers one up here. Why Gren? Yo, is this the kind of draft where you say A12 was right, and you say I would rather have a Weavile than a Greninja on this team? Low-key, I would rather have a Weavile on this team than a Greninja. Like, Widow will we? Dude, A12 is ahead of his time. Always. Problem solved. Yup. Actually, yeah, just trade across your teams and that solves everything. You're actually so right. Why didn't they think of that? Yeah, this one though, like, at least Hydrapple can blanket check a lot of things for you and then like still offensive pressure. Like the top 4 and like Rotom is a decent like bulky offense kind of team, I guess. And then if you wanted to, you could like I don't know how you'd build this as a fat team entirely, but whatever. Just slap Lando and D-Knight on this. Literally. Literally. Like, this would be a team where I'd be okay with Lando I as the ground type, because at least you're getting, like, your rocks up and you're hitting things hard. Something that Greninja kind of struggles with is, like, power, and Lando I kind of has the opposite problem, where its problem is speed and coverage. So between the two of them, they're just perfect, right? That's how that works. We need the Nidos and Paldea. Yo, a Nidoking would go so hard on this team. Literally. No, you spitting with that one. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this team either. Alright, and then we have Great Tusk, Cinderace, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Tinkaton, Amoonguss. I actually love Amoonguss for 6 points. I think it's very undervalued right now. And then Latios. This kind of has similar vibes to your BBR team, J-Bear. Right? I do like the Ogerpon with this team. This is like the other Terra Pokemon that we were considering on our own Great Tusk Cinderace team for Armory. Tusk Cinder Latios. I'm a hashtag influencer. Yeah, it can happen to anyone, really. Yeah, Tinkaton Great Tusk is good utility. Amoonguss is like actually super nice here, I think. The problem... Is there a problem here? I just started a sentence saying the problem when I had nothing in mind. Don't do that, kids. Oh, just in time for our team's drafts? Which team are you on, Hydra? I forgot. But yeah, this team, interesting. Red card Spore, yeah, literally good. Like, Amoonguss is literally good. I don't know why people don't rate it as much. What did you say about our SV1? You missed it. Oh, this one, the Meow Treads. I actually like the top 5 a lot. The bottom 3 is like really sus. I would prefer something else in the bottom 3. I don't know exactly what, but something else. Yeah, this team, I think, this top 6, I actually really love. And then a Lokix that can slot in for Latios' weak matchups. This is kind of fire. It's so tough getting used to what teams people are on after remembering DPL. Yeah, it's going to be a learning process for everyone. But yeah. I like this team a lot. This one's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Are there any problems with it? Ground types are a little bit obnoxious, right? Latios, Articuno are your ground resists. Your grass type doesn't resist. Your other grass type is tearing out of that. Tusk, not always able to check the ground types in the 1v1. Although it's decent at it. You'd probably prefer maybe a better resist or immunity. Pretty weak to ghost spam. Is that true? Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so maybe a few offensive types that it's a little bit weak to, but overall, I still like the team. Articuno walls them all, it's okay, literally. Double grass no resist is tough. Yeah, that is a little bit rough. Don't fact check this. I will not. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, overall, it's a cool team. I like this one quite a bit. I'll be watching as a fan. And now another one, another Tinkaton. Right, Darkrai Garchomp, and Ogerpon Cornerstone. So this is like, this is pretty similar to the team we saw earlier, right? Yeah, Darkrai Tinkaton and then a different Ogerpon. And then there's another one as well. Darkrai Garchomp, Urshifu Rapid. This one also has Darkrai Garchomp, Urshifu Rapid. But this one, just look at this one. And then look at this one. You tell me which one's better. It's the Alliance one, 100%. 100,000%. Because, yo, this Ogerpon Cornerstone, great breaker. Right? And then you just have good Pokemon, right? Vezidipity. What the hell is going on in that Surfers team? Yeah, literally. I don't know, dude. Yeah. I think this is just a better version of that team. Vezidipity did 17 to my Iron Treads with Heat Wave yesterday. That is literally embarrassing. I would not want to be seen in public with that Pheasantipede. Why didn't we highlight Blastoise when we said good Pokemon? I mean, Blastoise is fine. I think it's okay in SV. Sometimes you force a Mirror Herb in some matchups. Clicking Smash is like not a good idea in general though, because if they do Mirror Herb you, you lose. That's so annoying. Extra removal so the Ogerpon isn't a spike spot. Oh my god. Yeah, Mandiba's Blastoise is good removal, all things considered, between the two of them. Another Urshifu Rapid paired with the top two. Let's see. The Blastoise Tinkaton and then like a good ground type gives me like vibes of the DCL, was it DCL 2 game or DCL draft with that Lax was using? Whereas like two mid Terra Pokemon, like middle price Terra Pokemon with like good utility options. He had a G-King on there as well. This team doesn't have that, but the Tinkaton Blastoise, a good utility. It's like reminds me of that. It's not super similar though. And then obviously the Terra Ogerpon is just cool, right? We've seen a few of these drafted. Terra Ogerpon Cornerstone. Just like Rock Stab is really hard to switch into for a lot of SV drafts, especially when it's like 100% accurate and boosted, and you get like the mask boost on top of it. It's just so strong. Then grass coverage to cover for a lot of things, and then one of the best things about Ogerpon Cornerstone is it gets fighting coverage, and fighting coverage is so good on it because the only thing that wells its stabs is steel types, and a lot of them they just fall over to low kick or superpower. It's like so good, dude. Such a great Pokemon. Yeah, I like this team. So far for Alliance, I actually really like three of the teams, and then these two I just hate. So 3 for 5 winning record, some might say. Mandiba's is a good ground resist, but it's the only one, not ideal, but whatever. Yeah, I mean Blastoise, Garchomp can like somewhat check ground types reasonably, and like you have to worry about, you know, Urshifu Rapid, Surging Strike, Aqua Jet type stuff. But yeah, it is like you could prefer to have another ground resist for sure. Terrakion nowhere. Dude, literally this is Terrakion but better. 60%? What was 60%? I don't know. Yeah, Hydra, that's the one. Alright, let's move on to Judgment. So again, we see the Terrapin Roaring Moon. Focus Blast hits more than their SV drafts being good. You don't gotta say it like that though. That's just disrespectful. Man. Alright, so Judgment. And this is on the thumbnail, right? We'll get there. We'll get there. No, I get it, Central. That's just a tough way of putting it. Can't believe we got Tarak and then got DLC in Duskrock and then DLC 2 in Corner Pawn. Literally. They made Terrakion 3. That's malicious wording. On God it is. Yeah. So another Terrapagos Roaring Moon style. This one has a raw Ogerpon Wellspring. You don't see that every day. Almost always going to be tearing that Pokemon, but here they are not going to. Instead opting for Terrachiyu as like the main breaker. I actually like this as a concept. I don't know what this Clodsire is doing on here. Definitely a weird Clodsire pick. Like someone lost their Clodsire and it just wandered over here. Right? The Vulpix auto good team. Where's the Scovillain? Dude. People gotta stop drafting that Claude. I mean, Claude can work in very niche situations. It's pretty niche though, I'm not gonna lie. I usually don't like Claude on a lot of teams. Alright. But what's the idea here, right? You have your Vulpix as like a sun option into Chi-Yu and Roaring Moon. Sure, I can get behind that for 1 point. That Rotom and Claude got picked very early. They probably figured they are not going to get sniped on anything which is pretty accurate, right? Because Chi-Yu, it usually goes early or it doesn't go at all. So they accurately call that. Clodsire has so much practice in riding the bench and getting Gatorade for the rest of the team. Shout out Gatorade. Chat, what's your favorite Gatorade flavor? Mine's the glacier one. I like the glacier. Gatorade. I don't have Gatorade very often though. Like, it's been a long time since I had them. Light blue is also pretty good. I like the light blue. Double water absorb. Y'all wouldn't get it. Gets it. They just hate Alomomola. I get it. Literally. I only have it sometimes when I'm sick. Yeah, makes sense, yeah. Electrolytes. Cloud just a role filler that never actually fills the roles well. Yeah. Water absorb plus sun, no water types will get past this team. On God, they really hate Keldeo. You know what the crazy thing is? Keldeo's pretty good in this matchup. All things considered, Keldeo is not that bad. That's funny. Is Clodsire the Roselia of Gen 9? No, Roselia is even worse. No, Roselia actually does bring some stuff to the table, but it is benched a lot. This is true. I get the comparison. Terrafight GG's, literally. Where's your secret sword swap? Rotom? Yeah, nice dude. But yeah, in general, here, looking at this team, Trap Roaring Rune. Is there any actually like good synergy here? Like Terra Ghost for Terravagos means Roaring Moon knockoff is stronger. Sure, fair enough. Metagross is the rocker. Flying check. Yeah, Metagross Rotom means that you're never really too worried about flyings. The birds are pretty well covered. Rotom is Gen 9 Roselia, but like better. Yeah, that's actually a good comparison, because Rotom's like actually good. Is it a good comparison? Because Rotom's actually not benched very often. It's actually brought quite a lot. And when it does get brought, it usually performs pretty well. But yeah. They're both fighting weak, but pushing Terra Ghost, or punishing Terra Ghost is so good. Yeah, I like that. And then if you did want to hazard stack with like Spike's Ogerpon or Spike's Claude, you have your spin block right there. Also, without Rotom, this team is completely smashed by the elephants. Like Great Tusk, Iron Treads, both of them would just immediately 6-0 this team, right? Yeah, that would be pretty rough. So Rotom actually doing a lot of heavy lifting in some of these matchups here. I don't think I'd ever Terra Ghost into this. Yeah, probably not. It's like Double Dark too, with like Chi-Yu Roaring Moon. Yeah, you probably wouldn't Terra Ghost into that. Which is nice. Honestly, you don't have to worry about your Terrapagos very often. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, the Terrapagos Double Dark is something that I also put on my own team that I'm using. The SU4 Armory. With the Terrapagos, Weavile, Hydreigon. I think it's a good combination. So here, it's kind of the same thing, but with higher Mon quality, right? Roaring Moon is better. Chi-Yu's better Mon. What you're saying is Terra Keldeo wins this. Literally. Smashed by Terra Keldeo. Yep. But that's every team, so whatever. Team overall, I think it probably will be pretty reasonable. Yeah. I think the Rotom could get overwhelmed. It's doing a lot of stuff for this team. I don't think we're gonna see a Vulpix get brought a single time. If we do, I'll be surprised. Who isn't smashed by Terra Keld? Literally nobody. What we're saying is Terra Keld. I already said that. Yeah. Interesting team. I think it'll do decently. Alright, this one. What is it with Iron Valiant teams and getting Hydrapple Mandibuzz? Is it a trend that I missed out on? Did I miss something? Was there a meeting behind my back? They're so addicted to treads. Literally, they love treads. Who in their right mind isn't addicted to treads? It's actually such a good Pokemon, Andras. Anyways, Valiant Deoxys Speed. This is a combination we were considering on our own Valiant draft, but went a different direction. So Deoxys Hydrapple. Pretty interesting stuff. I think the top three, pretty cool. Glamora for hazards and like T-Spike absorbing, because yeah, these top three all hate T-Spikes. Makes sense. And then Mana Buzz to defog, like, what do you need the Mana Buzz for here? I don't know. What was the need for us to get Mana Buzz? I feel like maybe a different Pokemon would have been better here, no? Every time you draft value, you have to draft Hydrapple Mana Buzz. It's in the contract. If either gets sniped, you must drop Valiant. I get it. Glim has the solo fire resist. That's probably fine, to be honest. There's not a whole lot of offensive fires in the meta, and the things that are there usually get checked by Glamora. You'd be more worried if it was like a Gouging Fire, but I don't think there's any drafted this season. I guess they just want a decent Ghost resist. I guess. I don't know. Maybe like slow momentum into Valiant Dio. I don't know. It's not the worst thing. It's a good ground resist, yeah. Not like huge on it. It kind of makes sense, yeah. Ground check, ghost check, slow U-turn, knock off, foul play. It could probably work, yeah. And Empoleon as like the main water check once Hydrapple Terras. Is that what that's for? The steel type. Cat's meowing. Hello. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Yeah, we're on my lap. Cat moment. Yep. Manny's good, just weird to see it on a hazard stack teams without spin. Yeah. King of 5 meowing stream. That's if I stream Overwatch, that's my favorite thing to do. Go in the voice chat in Overwatch and just meow at people. It's honestly really fun. You didn't hear it from me though. We have a Mousehold, the goat of all time. Yeah, tidy up. Yep. Quad Rocks Aura. Yup. Mana Buzz is there to trick your opponent into thinking they are playing who because Hydrapple Mana Buzz. Most players probably have PTSD playing on his stall team in DPL with those two on it. True, yeah. Gotta do Overwatch streams? Yeah. I was playing a lot of Overwatch in the past like month or so, but now I'm probably gonna focus more on Mons again. Yep. And we're just rubbing against the mic. I mean, it's alright. I don't hate the team. I don't love the team either. We can move on to Great Tusk Iron Treads. The star of the show, right? Double ground removal. Okay, dude. So this enables your Great Tusk to not have to take on any rolls. Which is like, fair enough. Finally, yep. Didn't even notice this. This is thumbnail material. Double Elephant Abomisto bundle. This is pure cinema. This is what they call experimental. And by experimental, I mean it's probably gonna crash and burn, but it's gonna look cool while doing so. Okay, bundle, right? I think this is the only bundle drafted in the tour, if I'm not wrong. So, yeah, Terra Tusk is like a good Pokemon. 3 elephants. The 2 here and the elephant in the room. Literally true, yep. So Aloe Zapdos. So this is a team where Zapdos is just perfect on, right? Because are you ever tearing electric versus double elephant? I don't think so, right? So it makes sense there. Aloe's a good Pokemon in general to pivot. Then it's like you ran out of points, right? You're completely out of points. Hisuian, Quillfish, Abomisto, Hisuian, Typhlosion. These Pokemon are all like not super high impact. Maybe Quillfish is the most high impact one. Stacking types offense. Wow, this is why Rain is mid. Stacking all your offenses in the same type is something I've wanted to try, but we'll probably do it with more pure offensive guys than the elephants. Yeah. This is literally so that Iron Treads can take all the utility roles and Great Tusk is free to do whatever it wants. It's kind of like how people draft around Mew in some of the old gens, where they'll just try to take off the roles from Mew so it can do anything. So I'm like 14-4 all time with Rain. Rain's literally good. Yeah, I like Rain. But also Water is just a better typing. As someone who owns a casual monotype league for a while now, I don't condone this behavior. That's kind of fire, yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll just see how it goes, to be honest. I don't have anything to say for this team. It is definitely just a little bit on the weird side. We'll see. We'll see. Epic team, only the blind don't see the vision. Me. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Darkrai Treads. Another Urshifu Rapid, so pretty common pick. Like the third or fourth Urshifu Rapid we've seen. This one paired with Latias, so this is actually a really great combination. I love this a lot. Qwilfish, Moltres, decent defensive, lower cost Pokemon. The Cornerstone is like pretty cool. This team is Shiest. So it's like kind of like a... Oh, we're stepping on my balls. Alright, you can get off my lap now. Dude. Nice, dude. It's kind of like a third iteration of the Meowscarada, Terapagos, or Shifu Latios teams. Dude, this cat. I'll be fine, don't worry. It's kind of like a third generation one, because we also saw like Meowscarada Iron Treads or Shifu Latios kind of stuff, and then now we're replacing the Meowscarada with a Darkrai in that slot. So it's like this similar idea. Yeah, I think this team's pretty good. Maybe you'd be worried about... What would you be worried about? The opposing Lati matchup looks really bad, honestly. You play against a Latios or an opposing Latios, they're just running Specs Draco against you, and there's not much you can do about it. You just kind of have to pick. Yeah, like Life Orb, Specs, Lati. Pretty bad. Speed tiers are low-key whack, are they? No, not really. These are like really good speed tiers, huh? You go Darkrai to the base 110s, to Treads, to Urshifu, to Moltres, and it's good. It's literally fine. Carbink fixes his team. Carbink is also 2 points, not 1, so it wasn't an option in that last slot. Let's see, what else would you be worried about here? Honestly, the team looks pretty sound defensively. Cleffa fixes this team. Well, you can get Clefairy for 1 point, I'm pretty sure, on this draft board. The Darkrai mirror is near auto lose. You actually kind of right on that one. You'd have to be like Spadef or Shifu or something with like a neutral Terra. Then you Drain Punch it. Maybe Spadef Moltres is able to handle it. Maybe. Clef is better, I heard. Where'd you hear that? The toilet store? Not bad. Yeah, team's like pretty cool though, overall. Maybe like opposing dark types are a little bit challenging. Because your dark resists are not super good, right? As dark resists. Like your Shifu Darkrai, they're good Pokemon. Not great dark resist always. So maybe like opposing Meowscarada. Again, you have Qwilfish, not the end of the world. You have Moltres. It's probably fine, you know? It's probably fine. And then now this one. Another Meowscarada Treads Keldeo team. Another Mesprit on there. Oh, we actually do have a Gouging Fire. So, I did say that it was undrafted. I lied. It's right here. This is interesting. Is this kind of like an aura farm kind of thing where Meowscarada, Keldeo, Gouging Fire, they all just have a lot of aura to them, I feel like. And then you have pivots to get them in. Yeah, this is like strong offense guy, utility, strong offense guy, utility, strong offense guy, utility, utility, utility. So like the main offensive trio here, and maybe you could include Treads here as an offensive quartet. It's pretty strong, right? Meowscarada, Keldeo, we already know that's amazing. Gouging Fire, Healing Wish, good synergy there. I like this team. This is a team where Pheasantipede actually works, I think. Like if we look at the other Pheasantipede team, I keep bringing this one up to roast it. And then you go over here, you're like, I get it. Fire, Water, Grass Core, auto win. Yup, literally. And all of the offensive mons, maybe not all of them, but like a lot of them have like good natural bulk. This is a good team. I like this. I think overall Judgment did a pretty good job on their SV drafts. All things considered. Flirting versus harassment fest. So true. Literally so true. Terra Fairy Bulk Up Eel will win one game. That's a bit of a stretch, yeah. One's a high number there. We got Fire, Water, Grass, and Dragon Fairy Steel 1 through 6. Wow, we're back in 2018. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alright, now you have 2 more teams to go. Yoshi's and Fox's. Let's look at Yoshi's. Okay, so this is a take on the Raging Bolt Gren kind of style. A combination that we actually saw do quite poorly in DPL, all things considered. So this time they have a Tinkaton, Latios for Healing Wish. That's pretty good. I always like Raging Bolt teams to have Healing Wish options, so that's good. Tinkaton, good utility. Ogerpon, like spikes and like breaking down stuff. It's pretty reasonable. Like this top 5 is pretty strong. And then your last slot, pretty flexible between Slither, Rhyperior, Vileplume. Usually one of them's gonna have a good matchup, right? The Vileplumes here, probably for stuff like the opposing Ogerpon Wellspring, Keldeo type stuff. I guess you have Latios for that as well, and Raging Bolt is not bad. So Vileplume's more for T-Spikes, I guess, absorbing that. Which, fair enough, right? Yeah, because Ogerpon, Raging Bolt, these guys really hate T-Spikes, like, more than other Pokemon would hate them. So I get it. Slitherwing, though? What's Slitherwing doing here? It's like a fighting check, because your Fairy doesn't resist fighting, and your Latios gets knocked off. So yeah, Slitherwing and Vileplume is actually a good little combination for fighting types, if they're threatening. Slitherbolt Latios is probably fine into Wellspring. Yeah, it's probably fine. I mean, Slither's getting blown up by Ivy Cudgel, but all good. Still good value. Yeah, I think these are good value picks at the end of the draft. Like, this is very much a top 5 plus 1 every week, I think. And I think it'll do pretty decently on that. Slithering LARPing as Buzzwole, literally. Alright, and then another Meowscarada Keldeo team. Yo, people know ball. This time with a Garchomp. I love this top 3. Another Fez. This one has Fortress Rotom Moltres, okay? And then Terra Necrozma is something that I've actually wanted to see for a while now. Holy Aura? Ugh, cat hair. Yeah, I mean, this team does have a lot of aura to it. This top 4 is like so splashable, so flexible. I really like the top 4, and then you bring probably 2 of these. I mean, obviously 2 of these 4 any given week. Maybe you do have a little bit of defensive problems, right? Because Fortress, Pheasantipede, Moltres. These are Pokemon that, like, they're good generally. You're forgetting a Fortress. Yeah. They're, like, generally okay Pokemon, but when you actually have to prep against them, you can always find ways around them. Just say you freaking hate Necrozma. I say it because other teams also have Keldeo, Meowscarada, and good ground type. Treads, Garchomp. It's a good top 3 combination. I didn't mean anything about Necrozma. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies to Necrozma. He's shiced. Yeah, I wanted to see Terra Necrozma for a while now. I think it should be pretty strong. Yeah. Shout out the 4 Gen 9 Necrozma fans. Yeah, if there's 4 Necrozma fans, I'm one of them. If there's 1 Necrozma fan, it's me. There are no Necrozma fans, I'm dead. Rotom for the spin block with Chomp, Meowscarada hazards, I guess. Mostly just Chomp. Necrozma just too tough. Literally. I also like base Necrozma. I think it's, like, pretty reasonable. I haven't seen Terra Necro too much. I've seen it in Wi-Fi leagues, and it's done pretty well there, but obviously the tour scene is like a whole nother level, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Kaz put me onto it. Yeah. It's a good Pokemon. Blanket checked quite a lot. Yeah, I think this team will be pretty good. Pretty strong. Alright, Terapagos, DOS. This one's ugly. Okay. This one is very, very nice. Aesthetically pleasing. This one is not. At least they have the good Terapagos sprite. Yo, imagine this team with the baby Terapagos sprite. Maybe the ugliest team ever? Thoughts? And they were gonna have the baby Terapagos sprite until I said something about it in the tiering chat. I was like, bro, it's 2025, can we get the good sprite? Yeah. A very ugly team, but is it good, is the question. So I think Klefki is horrible and doesn't really work in SV. And why do I say this? This is my favorite example, is it can't switch into Roaring Moon knockoff. Because knockoff into EQ always kills. Even max defense, it always kills. Ampro's bringing color to the draft, literally. I think Klefki sucks as your steel, as your fairy, and it's the only steel and the only fairy. Annihilape's, like, fine. Gliscor's fine. Dragalge's a cool pick, but, yeah. I mean, Gliscor as a knockoff absorber is pretty nice for this team. I like that. Actually, we have Magnet Rise. Yeah, and then you get Fire Fanged and you die. Yep. But yeah. What to say about this team? I mean, Terapagos obviously a good Pokemon. But I feel like this is the type of team where you can definitely just bring Terraghost into Terapagos, and there's not a whole lot that can punish you for it. Like Weavile, Annihilape, I guess. You're probably fine running Terraghost into this. Firefang Moon in the Big 25. Dude, I had to play against Roaring Moon with Sun support, and I had a Klefki, and I was like, wow, I literally just freaking die to Firefang from full. That's awesome. It was so obnoxious, dude. Because I played against, it was Life Orb in the Sun, so it gets Photosynthesis and the Sun Boost on Firefang. You literally just freaking die. Maybe you should have run Rain Dance, then I get Earthquake follow-up. It's literally cooked. What are you gonna do? Rain Dance into Magnet Rise? Cool, bro. Awesome. Really good value out of my Klefki there. Uh, yeah, we give it a million boosts, we will be O-code. Yeah, yeah. You get it. Shuka, bro. Okay, dude. Sun Moon giving me OU PTSD. Stop, bruh. Literally. Yeah. I don't know exactly how to explain why. I just don't like it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to use this. It's a little bit clunky looking. Literally. Alright, I'm just gonna move on. It's an ugly draft. Alright, Deoxys, Zarude. This one has a Lando Eye, Rotom Wash, Sneasler, another Sneasler paired with Zarude. Fortress on this team, and then, of course, this team needs a Grand Bull, and of course the Dancing in DD gif. Alright, so we have the terrain into Unburden, and then Deoxys Speed also appreciates in DD support, so I actually really like this pick. That's super cool and nice. The speed on this team is actually quite good between Sneasler and Deoxys. The Rotom Wash, Lando Eye, these are like... I think they fit here. I think Lando, I usually don't like it, but on here it's fine. You want an offensive rocker that isn't Fortress and Deoxys, right? They usually have better stuff to do. Lando, you can get them up. You turn into like whatever. Let's see, because like Lando, things that come in on Lando, like what, Spadef Rotom? Or like Gliscor. But you have like Rotom Wash for those. Gliscor also you can like U-turn on, get like a Life Orb Ice Beam off. Pretty strong. Yeah, I like this team. It looks well put together. Granbull's kind of epic. I like Granbull. Granbull's there for like the Roaring Moon matchup, because like otherwise knockoff Firefang just 6-0s the team. Like knockoff Firefang Acro maybe. Like that coverage would just immediately smoke everything, I think. Maybe like a Zarude can take a hit, but other than that, like DD up and you win. Maybe like a Scarf Sneasler. But Granbull gives you an option to that. Ugh. Right. Cool team though. I like this one. And we're almost at 2 hours on the stream. Let's finish this one up. And then we'll look into like the formatting for the fantasy stuff that I want to do. I think it'll be pretty fun. Alright, so we see Great Tusk, Cinderace, another combination of these two, this time with an Alomola, a Terra Weavile, Terra Goldango. Alright, these are some hot takes here. Alright. Would you not just rather Terra your Tusk at that point? I'm being so for real. Yo, like take this draft and just make it Terra Tusk, Terra Enam, no? Terra Weavile is so shiced. Yeah, it's good. I'd rather have a Terra Tusk, right? Yeah. This maybe is an overcook on the Terra selections. I'd much rather have Terra Tusk, Terra Enam. Maybe does Terra Enam increase in price? It probably does, right? Yeah, it's 1 point more expensive. But still, I'd rather have a Terra Tusk. It's not worth, but it's cool seeing it. Yeah, I think so. Dingo Weavile, no cost. Yeah. Tusk on its own is still better. Yeah, I agree. But interesting choices there. But as a whole team, what are we looking at? So Speed Control, Weavile, Cinderace. Pretty good, all things considered. You have Goldango for Hazard Block. With Glamora hazards? I don't know. Probably more of just an offensive gold kind of thing. Hello, Blue. How's it going? No cost for Weavile is crazy. Gotta tap in. Sure, it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying Tusk is a better option here. I think the Aloe is pretty cool. Like, you go Aloe into... But what's your, like, strong breaker? Weavile? Tusk? Cinderace, maybe Goldango in some matchups. Probably works. Why is there double Dumbo? OnlyFans. Yep. Shout out. And this team is like, it looks good. Looks usable. Yeah. Is TJ still around? Yeah, TJ's on one of these teams. Where's TJ? Where did he end up? Didn't he get drafted? I swear he did. Yeah, there he is. He's on Make-A-Wish. 110s can run Adamant? Can they? Yeah, they totally can. Ooh, that's a bit rough. And we have the Go-Goat for the Wellspring matchup. Oh yeah, that's totally going to be enough versus Adamant Wellspring, yeah. Surely, right. Make-A-Wish sounds like a scrappy 10 team. It really does, doesn't it? Yes, Adamant Latios gonna go crazy. Literally. I mean, to be fair, Modest Latios does just put this team in a pack. Like, let's be real. You go like Modest Agility, Soldew maybe, with like a coverage move for Goldango. Yeah, that's probably too many move slots to be honest, but you get the idea. Them flip turns gonna be hitting. On God, on God they will be. Just 4 attacks probably. Yeah. Either way, like this team's like, it seems like it should work, all things considered. Big speed gap, you'd rather not have that, but whatever, dude. And then I'll actually, I don't need to move this because my face cam's all the way on the right. It's not blocking anything. So Foxes now. Alright, this is like, this is cool. Whoa. Look at this. Check this one out. Don't sleep on AV Weavile, buddy, or ask Classic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna honk me all over that. So what is this? We have Spike Stack plus Valiant, strong combination. We have Terra Moth, Terra Crown, strong combination. Lano T for a reliable rocker because your Iron Crown doesn't have rocks. So the thing about this is the Lando is forced to be the rocker every week or you have no rocks. Team has Aura? Yeah, hella Aura. You have Sinistra for spin block with your spikes. Yeah, this team looks really strong. Maybe you could say it's like weak to something like Weavile, right? Weavile looks like an absolute pain in the ass. Just like dual stab low kick kills everything on the roster. But you do have like pivots in, like Iron Valiant with Vacuum Wave. Maybe Samrock can take one. That top 6, yeah, it's kind of just Aura, Mega Drip, all that stuff. Tatsugiri for the spin. Yeah, sure. And then you have like the Pincurchin for the Quark Drive boost into all 3 of these guys. It's actually a super cool team. I'm excited to watch this one. That's awesome. Then next up we have Tusk, Greninja, Jirachi, Enam with like a raw Ogerpon. Okay. Makes sense. You have double Healing Wish. Into what though? Where's the Healing Wish abuser? Tusk? I mean, not really. Kind of, maybe? I guess. I like that team, to be honest. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. D-Knight should be here, though? Yeah. Like, if this Ogerpon was a D-Knight, we would be cooking. That's also, like, super expensive, so, you'd probably run out of points. Like, make this a Mence or something. Like... Could we put a Salamence on this team? On God. To wrap over Tusk would be nice. No, you'd prefer to have Tusk here, for sure. Double Healing Wish and a Nasty Plot Skuntank? Literally true. Mence mentioned. Someone at OG Albina. Terra Skuntank is a Dre 15 wet dream. Is it? Is that what he be? Okay. It feels like a top 4. And then, like, you're probably bringing Belly Bolt most weeks with his team. What's up, Aunt Venezuela? Venezuela? Driplim, is that a Rise of Darkrai reference? It might just be. This team is covered into a Spothra, dude. You have Driplim? Goat. So like Enam is like your main breaker option, and then like Booster Tusk, that sort of thing. Like pretty strong combination. You can always screens into like a AV Superpower Enam, and that's like so obnoxious to break, right? Because it takes nothing from any attack. I thought you knew Spanish. Sí, señor. Dos tacos, por favor. Ogerpon has the Soul Good water resist. Yeah. Not fantastic. We needed Cinderace webs here, shaking my head. So true. Blim holding off the ground fighting hits with Enam Eye. Yeah. Maybe not the most defensively sound team, but that's to be expected when you have like Enam, Greninja, like 2 really fantastic offensive pieces. You're gonna have holes somewhere, but you could probably check things offensively with this team. It's all good. For the Scarf to fight Ogerpon 2? True. SD doesn't exist? I wasn't worried. Chili Verde, Burrito, Hamburguesa, por favor. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, this is like a good offense team, I think. It'll probably work out. Then here we have the cook, right? This is we're cooking. What burrito? A chili verde burrito. If you haven't had one, you should. Literally good. Alright, so we started off the draft with 3 dragon types. Cool, dude. Nice. Chili verde is my favorite Mexican meat. Round 3 Cyclozar shout out. Yeah, it's the triple dragon for me. Interesting, you know? You like Pex here a lot? Yeah, these are some Pex believers. They have the 2 Pexes that were drafted in SV. And Corviknight Screamtail Pex is like a Giga Fat Core, like super obnoxious to break, but all of them kind of get taunted. But Screamtail's fast enough where it's not bothered too much by it, but yeah, Taunt is pretty strong into this. You do have the Sun option into Raging Bolt Roaring Moon. Fair enough. And Screamtail as well. So that's interesting, right? They have the Ninetales Paradox spam, and then they have the Pincurchin Paradox spam. They were in the kitchen for this one. 7 points Pex has to be good. Yeah, no Scald, no knockoff, but it still has like T-Spikes, Toxic. Pex believers in 2025. I mean, I think it could be worth 7. I know, I tried to get my team to draft one last DPL. And they said, no, you're stupid. And I was like, yep, I'm stupid, my bad. But here we are. Then Ursaluna is interesting. Did we really need an Ursaluna on this team? Sure, why not, right? It's just Corv, Clef, Seismitoad of early Sword of Shield, Loki. People pay 5 points for Muck hitting on our Goat Pex. Literally, dude, 2 points more to upgrade it to a Toxapex, that's literally good. Most teams fold to T-Spikes in SV2. A lot of them do. A lot of them, like, it'll just be like you force them to bring their 2-pointer, which is like just as good, right? Like, you load up into the team preview and you see a Swalot and you're like, nice. I guess there weren't other grounds. Were there not other grounds around? Maybe that's true, yeah. Gives you a breaker to play off of, like, Cyclozar U-turns, Corviknight U-turns. I don't hate it. Double Dumbo comp will win every single game. Yeah, literally true. That'll be interesting to watch, yeah. And then, yeah, so I think it'll be interesting. Like, the triple dragon, it's more so a double dragon. If I'm being super for real, Cyclozar is just a utility guy. But maybe if a team's weak to dragon, they're gonna get cooked, bro. Alright. Let's move on to this team, which I'm pretty sure Undead is has been noted as saying this is the best team in the tournament. Is that true? I don't know. Let's find out. So it's another Tornting Lu combination, this time with Dragonite, which makes sense, right? A lot of good resists, a lot of good utility. E-speed, always nice. I like Dragonite on these teams. Cyclozar for spin, makes sense. And then Rotom for spin block paired with the Ting Lu makes sense. Cobalion for like the middle speed tier. Another rocker, so you can run Spike's Lu. This is also like a good knockoff absorber, which is nice. It can't be the best team, it doesn't have a Keldeo. Spittin' has an Ogremon H, so yep, it's the best. I'm sensing some conflicting information in my chat. Yeah, Cobalion's nice here. Pex as well, interesting. Alright, so the idea would be just to wall things out with Pex. T-Spike up. Spread Toxics. Cobalion's also a Shice guy. I mean, the colors look decent-ish. I mean, for the colors, there's definitely better teams out there. All of these picks make a lot of sense. And then Ogerpon as like that breaker option. If you're able to spin with Cyclozar, Ogerpon's really strong. Otherwise, you know, they're gonna trade hazards and your Ogerpon's gonna have a bad time. But yeah, I like this team. Very cool. And then last up we have Zarude Greninja. So this is a double dark core that we saw in, what was it? Zarude Gren. I swear we saw this before. I don't remember exactly where. Was it a DPL season where someone had this? Or was it like a seasonal? Am I maybe mixing it up? Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, that's like the speed control. Double Dark obviously is like, we've seen it have a lot of success. But also, like, where's the thing punishing like dark resists? Yeah, like if you have a good dark resist, this team doesn't really punish that. Terra Embor right there, bro. Sure, man. Terra Embor. Thank you. Very cool. Like, this is like, I don't know if I'm too big of a fan of this one. Why does this SV5 team have 5 real mons with Rotom Spook being one of them? Literally. And I'm not counting Dawn Fan. No poison is weird. Yeah. Zarude doesn't like T-Spikes up at all. That's something I found with several Zarude teams. I didn't count Dawn Fan either. Yep, shout out Obama Snow, the GOAT. Yeah, I feel like almost every week is going to be them bringing these 4 teams. And I'm actually going to fact check that right now because the week 1 is out. Did they bench Zarude? Alright, where is boxes? Guys, I'm actually too smart. Yep. Yeah, bench that team. Keep benching it. Do that all season long. At least until mids. Just bench this one, bro. Your other teams are way better. Too tough, yeah. Nice. Some free aura farming for myself. Nice. I mean, Kyurem's a good Pokemon. Put a G-King on here. You cannot afford a G-King. You'd have to drop Jirachi, and then your Steel type is Air. Like, For a different steel? Who? Who is your different steel? We put in a Registeel on here. God Registeel. Mench the Zarude, but not the Surfer Fez Heatran one. Literally. Big Raj. Okay, we're just making the team worse. I get it. It's cool though. They'll figure that out at mids. God Registeel saves this. Trust. So true. I mean, the other 4 are pretty cool. So I'll give this one a pass. Like, alright, and that's gonna be all the drafts that we looked at. All the SV ones. I'm not gonna do the old gens. That's way too much time. Already 2 hours in. But one thing that I do want to do is also in the title, and that's figure out a system for the fantasy that I want to run. This would be like kind of alongside or like instead of Preds, right? Because I know like for the DCL tournaments and stuff, no one really cares about the forum Preds, but maybe people would care about fantasy. I think it would be fun to do. Everyone kind of like picks up a team with a budget limit, and then they still see how they do. Nice, dude. I was here for round 3 Roselia. Let's look at round 3 Roselia real quick. It's down here. And it's behind my face cam. Nice. Let's move it like here. Alright. Round 3 Roselia. Guys. If I may if I may pull your attention to the DPL 9 doc, which I will now have to fix my dimensions. And we look at the Pokemon stats. Right, let's go to ORAS. And I'm gonna have to fix my dimensions again. Oh my god. This is horrible. How far do you think we have to scroll to get to Roselia? I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. Still going. Oh, there it is. Roselia. Brought 0 times. Benched 11 times. This is our round 3 pick. We drafted it. Round 3. Good team win percent though. It's literally negative. Number 1 cheerleader. Oh, so far behind. Oh. Shout out Roselia. I get it though. He do be checking a lot of boxes. Alright. So, some brainstorming for the fantasy. I have a little doc thing here. So, ideas, right? So, obviously there has to be a budget limit. New drafts, or new picks every week. And this is one thing that I'm not 100% sure on. Do people get 1 player from every team? So like 1 from Foxes, 1 from Armory, 1 from Alliance, etc. And then you have 8, and that's your 8 starters. That could be interesting, or you could pick multiple from a team, or like put a limit on it, I don't care. Maybe like up to 3 from the same team. I don't know. I feel like spreading it out is interesting, but also kind of limiting at the same time. Could we do a lock that doubles win or loss? Sure. Could just do they get 8 starters. Well, yeah, you're always gonna have 8 starters. I can't type. So you have 8 starters. I'm thinking 1 for each slot. So 4 SV, 1 of the old gens, and VGC. And we're gonna do these after the lineups are submitted. So you don't have to worry about having someone that isn't fielded. If someone wants to lead Judgment, they sink or swim with it. Yeah, that's probably fair, honestly. So just 8 starters, as long as they're under the budget limit. Now, here's a question. For the budget limit, do we want it to flex during the season? If there's like some 3K player that really pops off and they're winning every week, everyone's just going to draft them, right? So maybe on our own fantasy roster, maybe they get raised up to like 7K as a cost. Is that something people would want? I'm not too sure. Or do you just want the easy 3K to slot every week? I mean, that's fine too. I don't care. We could do weekly prices, do like power rankings moving. Could be fun, could be fun. Submitted via Google Forms. Also sounds like a lot of work. It shouldn't be too much work. How about maybe it is actually. Maybe put in brackets. Flex cost. Like a weather forecast, nice. Top 10 players have 10% increase. Interesting. So maybe you do it where like you take the current standings. Oh yeah, that's actually smart. I like that a lot actually. Where if you're just gonna pick someone who's already been winning, like someone who's 4-0, you predict them to win again, you have to pay more price to put them on your roster. That's actually super cool actually. And then at the bottom you make them cheaper. That would be kind of cool. That's a good idea. I like that, Ant. Nice, dude. My internet just died. That's tough, buddy. So that could be interesting. That also makes it a lot easier to automate, I think. Right? Because you just have a database of the prices, then all you have to do is copy paste the standings, and it'll automatically do it, right? That doesn't feel too hard to code. Gotta use data to finish the stream. Alright, I'll wrap it up quickly. My bad. Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah, I actually like that a lot. We'll probably do that. And then, do we do some prizes? What are some prizes you would be interested in? Just like $5,000? Nah, I can't do that. Like, what are some good prizes for like winning the fantasy stuff? Bragging rights, always good. But what would you guys even want? Is Smoke gonna hook up the winner with a custom avatar? That's absolutely not happening, unfortunately. They're very stingy with giving out custom avatars. Gift a member or something? Auto duckling? Oh yeah, that's actually a good one. Auto duckling. Or winner equals free duckling. Do upset picks give you an extra point benefits? Would be cool as long as there's a downside, of course. Well, you would do this at the same time as we're doing pick'ems, right? So you get to see all the matchups. You know who's playing who. I like free house. Just give me a key. So true. Yeah, that's a good idea. Upset picks, do you mean like if I pick a 3K guy and he wins, do I get extra points out of it? Or you're saying like if my 3K guy is playing against a 20K guy and he wins, do I get the jackpot? What do you mean, Aga? Random house key, they need to find the house. We would know matchups. Are you saying you wouldn't? Maybe typo. I don't know. Let's see. What else would you do here? I think this is like a good starting point. like high risk, high reward thing to make picking an upset would get you mad points, but getting wrong would goob you. So you're saying like if my 3k is playing a 20k, then if I win I get the jackpot? I think that's what you're saying. If bottom X player beats top X player, get extra points, like a gambit kind of thing. That gives some value for like picking some low guys. Maybe add some strategy to it. How would you implement that in a fair way though? That's what I'm wondering. Maybe like if the delta between the costs is above a certain point, you get like 1 extra bonus point if they win. But also I don't think punishing the loss in that case is super wise. Like if the difference between the two players is more than 10k, you go double or nothing. Maybe? That also is something that I would have to like manually do, I think. I don't think I could code that super easily. But maybe it's worth it. Because that does sound actually really interesting. Could probably code it. Yeah, it's just a little bit trickier, right? Because I'd have to input all the matchups. Whereas this other stuff, I don't care about the matchups, right? So it adds a whole new database that I need. Or like you could just have like a check mark enabled where this player is playing against a high cost player this week. That's probably the way you would do it, right? Yeah, I like that actually. That's pretty cool. Any other ideas? I think this is a good starting point. I can work on this tonight or something. Get it like a doc all nice and coded and stuff. Make it look nice. Get a Google form going. And then when we do our pick'em stream, we'll also do the fantasy drafts at the same time. How about that? Let me check my work schedule. When would that stream even be? 1 sec. Let me know if you need any help setting it up tonight. I probably will, but also I'll be back like super late your time zone, so like I won't be home till like 10 p.m. PST, which is like 2 a.m. for you. We could definitely do a pick'em stream on Thursday, I think. I know Zooch is busy on Friday this week, so he wouldn't be able to do it Friday anyways. When L5 bleeds subscribers this season after costing people's fantasy draft by losing all his games. No, been up till 4 a.m. last few nights. Honestly, same. I actually get it so much. But yeah, if you want to help out, we could totally do that. I'm thinking Thursday. If we can have the fantasy all set up by Thursday, I'd love to do it at that time. Otherwise, maybe Friday morning, maybe Saturday, but by then games will have started to go in. Mine hasn't been as bad as yours. Yo. If I'm being super honest, like a few weeks ago, I was playing Overwatch, and I was like, alright, time to go to bed. And then I got a DM being like, no, don't go, you have to duo with me. I was like, I don't have work tomorrow. Sure. Stayed up till 8 a.m. playing Overwatch, and I have not recovered since then. Which is honestly not the worst thing in the world during drafting week, because it means we always have a captain awake. Because Aster wakes up early, and I go to bed late. Yeah. But like, obviously not ideal, right? It literally happens. Good thing is I work evenings, so it doesn't matter. Just annoying. Like, whatever. Alright, so we have our list of things we want to do for fantasy. We have done all the SV drafts. I think I'm going to call the stream here. So, yeah. I'm going to get some dinner, and then I'm going to head out, do some stuff in the real world, then I'll start working on this. when the OW Drive event was out, I was up till 4 on a school night. Oh nah. Got so close that my teammates turned to monkeys and I couldn't win. Maybe you were you were part of the problem, right? It's 4 a.m. No one's playing well at 4 a.m. It could happen though. I get it. Alright. That's gonna be it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. You were a trust? Yeah, literally. Nah, I get that. Never played bad? Yeah, same.